I'll call the meeting to order of the Upper Big Blue Natural Resource District. Open Meeting Act, the public notice has been published in the York News Times on April 13th of 2023. The Open Meeting Act is posted in the back of the room by the door. All cell phones should be silenced during the meeting. Please be aware this meeting is being recorded. When speaking, the desktop microphone button must be depressed. This ensures that your comments are recorded in their entire content. The recording becomes part of the public record along with written board minutes in accordance with state statute. Roll call.
Bethune,
Here.
Anthony Bohati, Jeff Bohati,
Here.
Richard Bohati,
Here.
Dickinson,
Here.
Groats,
Here.
Huttershell,
Here.
Kaner, Miller,
Here.
Noose,
Here.
Adi,
Here.
Perry,
Here.
Peterson, Siebert,
Here.
Staley, here, Weiss, Yates,
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, consideration of director's request for excused absence. I have two of them. One is for Paul Weiss. He is spraying, and the other is for Bill Keener. He wanted to attend his son's soccer game. If you want to vote on these separate, just make the motion as such.
Motion to approve the. Second.
Roll call.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Groats,
Yes.
Huttershell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Noose,
Yes.
Adi,
Yes,
Perry,
Yes.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
carried.
Public comments. Anyone may comment on any matter that is not on this agenda. However, no board action can be taken until the following board meeting according to Nebraska Open Meeting Act, unless the board declares an emergency. Please hold comments on any listed item until it is considered. Adoption of agenda.
So move. Second.
Make the motion.
Paul did. Any comments on that, on the agenda? Roll call.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Groats,
Yes.
Huttershell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Noose,
Yes.
Adi,
Yes,
Perry,
Yes.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony. Jeff,
yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Approval of minutes of the March 16th, 2023 Board of Directors meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the minutes as printed.
Second.
Any questions or comments on the minutes? Roll call.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Groats,
Yes.
Huttershell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Noose,
Yes.
Adi,
Yes,
Perry,
Yes.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff, Yates,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, now we'll move into the Water and Regulations Committee report. Kendall.
The Water and Regulations Committee met Tuesday, April 11th, 2023 at 7:00 PM at the NRD office. Those who participated are listed below. Committee members were Jeff Bohati, Doug Dickinson, John Miller, Teresa Audi, William Staley, myself, Lynn Gates, and then other directors, staff, and guests were listed below. Action items: Aquifer Quality Well Abandonment Cost Share Assistance Program payments. 10 Aquifer Quality Well Abandonment Cost Share Assistance Program applications have been approved for final payment, totaling $6,452.87. A list is attached. Motion to make cost share payments for 10 well abandonments as reviewed by the committee at a cost of $6,452.87. Motion carried, 7 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
second,
Is there any questions or comments on these? Roll call.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Hattershell,
Yeah.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuce,
Yes.
Addy,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seabird,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next item, water meter repair cost share assistance program. 3 water meter repair cost share assistance program applications have been approved for final payment totaling $900 listed attached. Motion to make cost share payments for 3 well abandonments as reviewed by the committee at a cost of $900. Motion carried, 7 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Any questions on these or comments? Roll call.
Gross,
Yes.
Hattershell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuce,
Yes.
Addy,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seabird,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item C, certification of irrigated acres. The committee reviewed the irrigated acres certification for 212 parcels totaling 8,214.76 acres, yielding an increase in irrigated acres of 512.01. Total irrigated acres for the district is 1,247,197.50 acres. The committee also reviewed the acre changes to 1 wetland parcel, yielding a decrease of wetland acres of 6.37 acres. Motion to certify the acre changes as presented to the committee. Motion carried, 7 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Any questions on those or comments? Roll call.
Hattershell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuce,
Yes.
Addy,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seabird,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Hattershell. Yeah, Yates, excuse me.
Motion carried.
Yes.
Okay, item D, Vados Zone Study Payment, University of Nebraska Lincoln. 2 invoices have been received for work completed on the Vados Zone Study from February 1, 2023 through March 31st, 2023, totaling $5,682.63. A copy of the invoices is attached. A question was asked about the indirect costs of 10%. Staff are following up with the university to find out what is covered with the 10%. Motion to pay the University of Nebraska Lincoln for work completed on the Vados Zone study totaling $5,682.63. Motion carried, 6 yes, 1 no, and I so move.
Second.
Doug.
Yeah. Figure out what it was.
Okay, yeah, the 10% is for administration and brick and mortar building. You're paying a portion of.
All right, I have a hard time with that. How in they charge us that? I mean, to me, it looks like they charge off a lot of expense for pens or pencils or whatever.
Yeah, not disagreeing with you, but I don't know. And Doug, your concerns, I think, are felt by every NRD whenever they enter into a university project. And, you know, we could have went out to an engineering firm for this project, but we probably would have been paying double of what we're paying the university, you know, for the project, even with this 10%. So I guess it's something to consider next time we, you know, look to the university as a contractor and weigh in the options.
Is there any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
News,
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seabird,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
No.
Gross,
Yes.
Uttershell,
Yes.
Yates. Yates,
Yes.
That carried 13-1.
Item E, four-wheeler bid authorization. Staff would like to replace two four-wheeler ATVs, the Suzuki and Arctic Cat, which with two Honda Ranchers 4x4 before the end of the fiscal year. The Suzuki was purchased in 2006 and the Arctic Cat was purchased in 2015. Both machines are aging with loss of compression and availability of replacement parts. Motion is to seek bids for two Honda Rancher 4x4 ATVs to replace the 2006 Suzuki and the 2015 Arctic Cat. Motion carried 6 yes, 1 no, and I so move.
Is there any questions or comments on these? Roger.
I wasn't here for the discussion, but I've got an Arctic Cat that's 2020. And getting parts for that was like pulling teeth. So I can see where they're having trouble getting them. I mean, I went to the dealer and it's for a fan belt. And that was in August and it came in February. So I went online and got one the next day. After the dealer told me it'd be February when it comes in. But just getting parts to a dealer on the Arctic Cats right now is like pulling teeth.
Yeah, here a year or so ago, Arctic Cat was bought out by Textron maybe. And now I've heard that they are maybe gonna part company. I mean, Arctic Cat might go their own way. Yeah, there's problems, so. Kendall.
Marie, you had room in the budget for this year, right? You're not, just so everybody anyone who wasn't here when we had the discussion.
Yeah, we did not budget to replace these this fiscal year, but we do have some capital outlay because we didn't replace one of the other vehicles in the fleet this fiscal year. So there is some monies available to make the purchase. And that would be part of the bid requirement is that we would take delivery by June 30th of 2023.
Are these gonna be traded in, these two? Is
Yes.
that- Okay.
That would be the plan.
Is there any other questions or comments? Roll call.
News,
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seabird,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Groves,
Yes.
Uttershell,
Yes.
Miller,
No.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried 13-1.
Item F, Municipal Water Quality Assistance, Village of Hampton application update. The Village of Hampton has applied for funding under the Municipal Water Quality Assistance Program to complete a municipal well rehabilitation. During the committee discussions, several questions arose about the application. Crosnick is reaching out to the Village of Hampton to find the answers. An update will be provided at the board meeting. You got an update on that, Marie?
Yeah, I do. Come to find out, the Village of Hampton does not have an approved wellhead protection area plan, which makes their application ineligible. They do have signs up around the perimeter saying that they have a wellhead protection plan. And yeah, and I do have, I mean, I remember Russ Gerhart and I going over there and doing the contamination source inventory part of it. And I was telling that to the operator, I go, because we stopped at the Co-op Mini Mart for ice cream. And I go, that's the only time I've ever been in that little mini mart is when we were in town doing that. But somewhere along the lines of a draft plan being developed and the village actually adopting a plan and submitting it to the state, something fell through the cracks on both sides because they went through their city council minutes for like 3 years in and around when we would have done that work. And there was never anything in there about adopting the plan by the village. So they are going to withdraw this application. We are going to work with them and the Department of Environment and Energy to explore the planning options available to them now and hopefully get them a plan. I know when visiting with their water superintendent, they're really hoping that this rehab works because every test hole he said that they have drilled for water quality, they cannot find a new site that's less than 10 parts per million. So he goes, if this doesn't work, we're going to either have to explore other options, which he said would likely be treatment.
So do we go ahead with this motion or is the motion?
I would just withdraw it or let it. Yeah, you can do that.
Second.
Yeah, and
Okay, thank you, Marie, for the update. Any questions on the motion getting returned? I think we can have discussion on that if we want. So. Okay, roll call. Wait, everybody understands what the motion is, right? Okay.
First of all, I don't think we ever had anybody that seconded the motion.
Yes, Roger did.
I'm sorry.
John and Roger.
Yeah.
No, on the original one. that you
No,
made.
no, because
So
original
there is-
motion wasn't even made.
So there really isn't anything to withdraw, is there? Or table,
Well-
send back to committee?
But he's just sending it back to committee and then, yeah. Yes. Until they meet the requirements. That's the way I understand it. Okay. Sorry about that, Nancy. Does everybody understand the motion?
You're really just referring this back.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
committee.
yeah. Mhm. Yeah. If there isn't any questions or comments, I'll roll call.
Addie,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seabird,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Groves,
Yes.
Huttershell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Noose,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Kendall, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I thought we needed to clarify what we can do and not do. Okay, go ahead.
Item G, rules enforcement update. Lift order of cease and desist. Staff are requesting the orders of cease and desist filed against Michael P. Alberts, Christopher Howder, Jason Preisler, Clint Redovic, and Colton Wares be lifted. All 5 have come in compliance with the annual reporting of irrigation water use. Motion to lift the order of cease and desist filed against Michael P. Alberts, Christopher Howder, Jason Preisler, Clint Radovic, and Colton Weirs. Motion carried, 7 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Any questions on this? Roger.
Marie, do we have many that are left out?
we have one active order of cease and desist, and that's Security Grain out of Stromsburg. And she has not turned in her 2023 phase 2 and 3 report. She did turn in her water use report, but has not turned in her phase 2 and 3 report.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Perry,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Hattershell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
News,
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Discussion and no action items, Regenerative Ag Conference, Lower Platte North, Lower Platte South, Little Blue, and Lower Big Blue Natural Resources Districts are all on board to co-sponsor a Regenerative Ag Conference in the winter of 2024. Staff have secured a $750 grant from the Dan Gillespie Soil Health Fund to assist in planning the event. Staff are looking forward to hosting the event in late February and are currently working with Keith Burns to plan an agenda and set a budget. University Conservation and Survey Division Agreement for Services update. Staff consulted with the district's insurance provider concerning the language provided in the university agreement. The Upper Big Blue submitted alternative language to the university for their consideration. The university approved the alternative language and staff will sign the document. Fumigation Incentive Program, new applications, 7 additional applications have been authorized for a total of 24 authorized applications. A list of new applicants are attached. Possible regional water supply system, Grand Island Phillips Giltner. Staff were contacted by the Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy concerning a possible project connecting the villages of Phillips and Giltner to Grand Island for municipal water service, NDEE. Inquired to see if the Upper Big Blue Natural Resources District would be interested in starting a rural water district for the system. Discussions are in the early stages. Staff will monitor this and keep the committee up to date. Rules enforcement update, other users. There are 4 outstanding entities that have not reported other water use for 2022. Staff will continue to try to bring them into compliance. Complaints and violations have been sent. The other users have until April 21st to come into compliance. Phase 2 and 3 training. There are 10 producers who, according to the district records, are out of compliance for not attending initial phase 2 and 3 nitrogen training. Staff will continue to try to bring them into compliance. Discussion with Central Valley Ag. Central Valley Ag met with staff to discuss future strategies to address groundwater quality. CVA would like to have a seat at the table with natural resources districts to fall within their footprint to be a part of the groundwater quality solution. CVA is asking the district to put together a list of practices that would address groundwater quality for their review. Staff are asking directors to contribute to the compiled list. If directors have suggestions for the list, please email or call Jules Gerd or Krosnick by April 21st. Well permit summary. A summary of well construction permits for March was presented to the committee. Currently, there are 2,218 active irrigation wells. A copy is attached. K Junction solar update. It was requested by the committee to continue to include it on the future agendas. It was noted the zoning board will be looking at the project. There is a possible start of project in fall of 2024. And that concludes our meeting.
Okay, thank you, Kendall. Pleasure.
Oh, I missed that committee meeting after we talked about the RO systems. And we were gonna talk to the legal about if we finance RO systems for people in the country, or we're gonna be required then to do something for people in town. What was the reply on that?
That's on the discussion and no action items
Yeah.
on the projects, you know, but so we can wait till then, you know. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to projects and program committee meeting. Richard,
Projects and Program Committee met 7 PM on Thursday, April 13th at the NRD office in York. Those present committee members were Paul Bethune, Anthony Bohati, myself, Bill Keener, Mike Nuss, Matt Perry, Bill Staley, Paul Weiss, and Board Chairman Lenny Yates, plus other staff members and other directors present. Action items. Action item A, Smith Creek requests to improve recreation area. A group of recreationists that use Smith Creek Recreation Area approached the committee with an idea to add a sand type beach area to the southwest corner of the dam to make it easier for people to load kayaks and canoes. Concerns included getting enough sand put in to cover the mud lake bottom. The group was instructed to coordinate efforts with the NRD staff. Motion that the local group be permitted to install a small beach-like area on the southwest corner of Smith Creek Dam in an effort to improve water access for kayaks and canoes. The group should coordinate all activities with the NRD staff. And it doesn't list what the actual vote was, but I know it passed, so I'll make a motion to.
Second.
any questions or comments on this?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, staff has talked about this a little bit, and we think it'd be a good idea to amend the motion to include some type of insurance that the contract, the people that are doing the work has some type of insurance to cover if a mishap would happen during the process of them installing the sand.
Okay.
So that means they need to have, I know he had talked about that they got insurance and everything covered, just needs to be part of the motion.
Yeah, I think that would cover our basis. So like I say, if a machine would tip over because the bank would give way or some other mishap would happen, they wouldn't necessarily come back on the NRD for being liable.
And maybe, is there going to be any written agreement on this between them and the NRD, or is it just going to be covered through this motion? I'm not, well, I mean, like an interlocal agreement, but not quite to that depth, but is there something we need? But to make, a written understanding of what's going on out there, maybe.
An interlocal agreement would not be applicable because they're not a governmental
Yeah,
agency. I would think that a good written motion would suffice to
Okay.
it and protect the board. If you're more comfortable with having a written document, that could be included as well as in the motion. It's not unheard of.
Does anybody want to add anything to this motion that was read, like an amendment?
Would you make it, I would make a motion that the contractor have their own insurance. Amendment.
Yeah.
Make an amendment that the contractor have their own insurance, this group have their own insurance in that they will not hold NRD liable for any injuries. Sorry.
I guess what I was, I just say, I guess what I would be looking for is like what we normally say, we were hiring someone to do this. What we were looking for is a certificate of liability insurance. And we get that from their insurance carrier. And we're named as like, like on that. So it's provided to us. So if something happens, we've got that. Or like say our insurance, if something happens and, we get all involved in a lawsuit, our insurance company doesn't come back to us and say, hey, you let them go ahead and do this. They got injured, you didn't get the proper document, but I think a certificate of liability. I think
That sounded perfect.
We just need a certificate of liability insurance. Provide that.
That
and
they will
then-
provide us certificate of liability insurance.
Okay,
Does the second agree with that?
Yes, that's what I was
and do you
wondering.
still want the verbiage in there about to be held harmless?
That would, well. Can't say anything.
Any ideas on that, gentlemen?
if you want it in there, just,
I would just say certificate of liability.
Okay,
That should cover it all.
okay. So that's the amendment.
yes.
Okay.
Is there any questions or comments on the amendment? Roger?
Is it certificate of liability or liability insurance?
It's a certificate of liability insurance.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments on the amendment? I'm gonna have you read the amendment. Please.
I suppose we would probably insert it right after the part where it says for kayaks and canoes. And that
Yeah,
they provide a certificate of liability insurance to the Upper Big Blue NRD.
okay. If there's no more questions on the amendment, we'll vote on the amendment. John?
Who is they? This organization
only-
or the
You only
contractor?
call them a local group. So in your motion, and that's all I've seen. But I thought when the gentleman when they were talking, it sounded to me like some of them, they must have some kind of a business. I don't know whether it's
Yeah.
construction bit or what they have, but they apparently they have the equipment. So who, I guess whoever is gonna be responsible for it.
The local group was going to be the, I'll call it the contractor, I thought.
So, but
Or I mean, they
don't
were gonna do their own work.
I don't know
Doug, go
which one of
ahead.
the three were gonna do it.
The one guy has a construction, so I don't think it'd be a problem.
So that would be the individual, then the
That
company that would
individual-
provide the
The
liability.
guy that stood
insurance.
up,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I. he
Was it
didn't
Randy,
introduce himself.
Jason, or Mark?
It was Jason,
Jason, yeah.
correct, Jack? It was Jason that has the contract.
You might want to ensure that if these other guys aren't part of his official business, somehow they're covered. in this. Sure, but it's on the site that's doing something is listed somewhere. Right? I mean,
That's between him and his insurance. I mean, I guess, all I know is when like, say like when Clement, when they did the work, they provide us with a certificate of liability insurance. And they also, I mean, if they've got people that work for them, that is like employees, they show that they have to show that they've got, workman's comp coverage for these people. If they're, using vehicles, that may be listed, that they have automobile insurance. And then it tells you like what the limits are, for each, whether it's, it's like an injury or whatever the, damages are. So.
yeah, I think we just,
We don't get into, I mean, they never list out like the individuals, if there's somebody that's helping them out or is on site, it's just
okay,
them.
we might bring it to their attention, just so they're aware of it. I mean,
Well, I think this amendment will probably bring it to their
Yeah.
attention, I would think.
I think so.
Yeah. Kendall?
Doesn't it still seem a little bit vague that we don't have a person or a company listed in amendment? We're basically just making it sound like anyone's gonna go do this. I think it should be specific on who it is or what the business name is or whatever the
If we
case.
knew, I don't know. I never did hear him say
Uh,
anything.
List the three guys that came and talked to us and four guys, whatever it was, because they're kind of in charge of it.
Yes. Do you know the people that were here
Well, we
by
have it, we
name?
have it right here.
They're on now.
Yeah. we
Oh,
have
oh,
Randy-
yeah.
Randy Wheeler, this is Jason Brandenburg,
Okay.
and Mark Whittier.
Okay.
So we could list those names,
In the motion?
but are we asking for a certificate of liability from each one of those individuals? I think-
Wasn't the Whittier, wasn't he, he's the one that said the business name, but I didn't catch it. that
Okay, I
way.
thought he was the one that had some kind of business, but I didn't hear what it was.
Yeah, because he had the side dump and the construction equipment. And
Okay,
I take it they all kind of work together from what I took out of it.
Well, I think if we contact them with this, be able to get the name of whoever we're gonna be able to, and we'll just tell them we need the name of who's gonna be in charge of this. 'Cause right now, we're, nobody exactly knows what the name of the outfit is, but when we get a hold of them with this, we'll be able to find out at that point, who it is and who we have to get the letter from.
Oh, but if we request that certificate, there'll definitely be a name on that then. Or that or company name, yeah.
yeah, it'll be,
Yeah.
because it has to have the company, or whoever, even if it's an individual can ask for a certificate of liability too, but it has to have their name, it's from their insurance company, And we, like, we're like the certificate holder. So if, they've guaranteed that they're, that they have insurance and that they have certain coverages.
Yeah.
Maybe we should, this is just a thought, is add to the amendment. Had it in my head here a second ago, how I wanted to word it.
And the question is, and instead of referring to local group,
Yeah,
I know there should be a name or an individual or company.
yeah, and we'll need that before any work can be done or something like that, so we have that certificate from.
Oh, that should come, once the request one, there should be either company name or a name
No,
on it.
say no work can be done till we have that with a name on it. Till we have that insurance, proof of insurance with a name on it. That way. We're saying local group, but we can't have, no work can be done till we have a name on and insurance proof on it. It isn't just a local group. We don't know of the construction, so this way it fills it in that way.
John, yeah. So right now we have an amendment, to require, proof of insurance. Yeah, but let's deal with that.
And do you want to say that no work will be started until they provide this certificate of liability as part of that amendment?
Sounds good, yes. I would just add that. to the-
What if that's what your intent is?
Yes. Yes, that is part of the amendment now. I know, we're just working on the amendment now, so, okay, go ahead.
They can't really start until they get, through the NRD. The original agreement would have it. How do you say that? They
Yeah.
coordinate with
Yeah.
them, so they won't be starting
Right.
anyway, so.
Yeah, well, I think we're covered there. So. Okay, on amendment to require a certificate of liability. Is that, am I saying that?
That no work be started until the group provides the certificate of liability insurance to Upper Big Blue NRD.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on the amendment? Roll call.
Seibert,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Yes.
Gross, Hattershell,
Yep.
Miller,
Yes.
Noose,
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Okay, amendment carried.
Yes. Okay, now we're back to the original motion with that amendment in there. John,
I move to amend by replacing local group with local contractor.
Second.
any question or discussion on
Just 1 second.
this amendment?
Okay,
Are you ready,
yep,
Nancy?
I'm ready.
Okay, basically all we're doing, but it's just, instead of local group, it's contractor or local contractor. Any questions or comments on the amendment that add that, Paul?
Does it have to be local if we just say contract? Locals irrelevant.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Oh, okay, and any other questions or comments on the amendment? To change the wording from group to contractor, basically. Roll call.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
No.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Otter Shell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuce,
No.
Addie,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
That carried 12-2. So now we go back to the original motion as amended.
Yes. You want to read that?
Sure.
Not really.
Yeah, well,
That's okay. Let me see how.
I could struggle
Okay,
through it, but I
okay,
think you
that's
can
okay.
struggle through it better than I
We'll
can.
struggle through it here. Okay, that the local contractor be permitted to install a small beach-like area on the southwest corner of Smith Creek Dam in an effort to improve water access for kayaks and canoes. That no work be started until the local contractor provides a certificate of liability insurance to Upper Big Blue NRD. The group will coordinate all activities with NRD staff.
Any questions or comments on the motion? Roll call.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Otter Shell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nuce,
Oh.
Addie,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Yates.
Yes.
That carried 13-1.
Well, sometimes the
amended.
simplest things are get involved, but I think we did the right thing. Okay, go ahead, Richard.
Action item B, Langworthy Rhine Miller Dam update. NRD staff sent a package of information on the Langworthy Rhine Miller Dam to the Langworthy Trust. Staff will solicit bids for removing the man-placed fill in the conservation pool. NRD consultant reports revealed that approximated 80% of the silt to be removed was man-placed fill in the conservation pool and 20% from natural sediment. Motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD solicit bids for the removal of man-placed fill within the conservation pool at Langworthy Rhine Miller Dam as recommended by staff and approved by the committee. Motion carried 9 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Any questions on this or comments?
Is there anything?
We have not had any correspondence back from the trust. Ken Morgan has not returned our call, has not returned our packet made to him. And I am unaware that he's contacted legal, but he could have, and I just don't know that. So no, I do not.
Jack, it says on here, man placed fill. We're not removing anything that's been placed in there by runoff or I thought we were taking some out there too.
Yes, we're taking foot below. We're taking a foot below the bottom of the drawdown. So we will have room for future sediment coming in.
That is my question. Are we removing any sediment that washed in there? Because right here it says we're only removing what was placed in there by man placed fill. Is that-
Yeah,
what do you do about sediment in there?
It's been replaced over time. The report said they couldn't tell when all this stuff had been put in there. So there is some sediment that'll probably be in there mixed in with what they shifted around in there.
Do we need to add that in there just to cover ourselves as far as that we're not only replacing the.
Yeah, if you read the discussion, it says 80% and then 20%. That'd probably be wise to add it to the motion.
Okay.
From the discussion into the motion.
Well, that's what I'm thinking is we need to, because we're not gonna only be removing man plate. So I'd like to make an amendment to add man plate fill plus sediment. all we gotta say, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just remove man place.
Yeah, this is, if we just replace this fill.
Yeah.
This-
remove
this-
that.
There we go, with this, I'd like to make a motion or an amendment to remove man placed. Just remove fill. Yeah, just,
So you want to strike where it says man placed, fill.
Just leave.
No, leave
No,
Phil there.
man placed.
Leave Phil.
just man placed, we're gonna leave the fill there, but
Oh, yeah.
just remove all fill.
Okay, that's an amendment. We do not have a second.
Second.
Or I didn't. Oh, now we do, John.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions or comments on the amendment? And the amendment is basically just striking the words man placed. Roll call.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson.
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Huttershell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
News,
No.
Huddy,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seibert,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
That carried 13-1. Amendment carried 13-1.
Okay, now back to the motion as amended. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Huttershell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
News,
No.
Huddy,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seibert,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
That carried 13-1 as amended.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Discussion and no action items. Publication of legal notice of meeting. Chairperson reported that the project and program meeting was published in the York News Times. Open Meeting Act. Chairperson advised those in attendance that the Open Meeting Act is posted by the entrance to the boardroom. Land treatment program. There were 11 new land treatment projects with a total cost share of $33,232.56. The committee reviewed the land treatment program funding. F, private dams program. Staff believes there will be 4 private dams constructed prior to the end of the fiscal year. Alicia Hendricks, Hank McGowan, Dustin Chrisman in mind. NRCS staff are working on several other dams. Tree report. Staff presented the April 13, 2023 tree report. There are currently 29 district tree plantings. Pioneer Trails East Shoreline Access Improvement Update. Mid-Nebraska land developers have started hauling rock to the site. They anticipated being able to evacuate the shoreline in a couple of weeks. City of York letter of map revision. The City of York did not submit an invoice for reimbursement this month. Item J, Ballgren Dam Pipe Shoreline Maintenance. Johnson Service Company from Kearney has been working on other projects. They will work on the design this fall and schedule the work for late fall or early summer. Oxbow Trail Recreation Area. Pipe Peepers Incorporated is scheduled to finish installing the hydrant this week. Staff will then have Dankers Concrete come back to the site and finish the last slab of concrete. They will also place a slab for a new bench. Supply well. Staff received separate bids for the earthwork and fencing as part of the supply well project. Staff did not receive a bid for the well. Staff has contacted Volsky Corporation and Volsky will submit a bid for the well. Staff cannot award the earthwork and fencing contracts until the staff has a contract for the well. The low bids for the earthwork and fencing may be awarded after the NRD receives a bid for the well. The current low bidder for the earthwork was Broken Arrow Excavation of $7,078.50 for construction of the well pad, building the channel and rocking the pad. The current low bid for the fence was $4,800 from Rio Fence Company. Water Quality Management Plan. Lake Hastings additional target area for upper NRD water quality management plan. The city of Hastings hosted an information meeting on Lake Hastings Dam. This was attended by the Lower Big Blue NRD, the Upper Big Blue NRD, the city of Hastings, and the Nebraska Game and Parks Committee or Commission. Current conditions of the lake were discussed and possible future plans to remove sediment, which was built up in the lake over the years. Overland Trail Security Light Domestic Well. Staff has been coordinating activities for the installation of a security lighted domestic well at Overland Trails Recreation Area. Future facilities, restroom, parking, and picnic shelter will be located with future additions to be added. Staff will be soliciting bids for the domestic well. Additional picnic shelter, Smith Creek Recharge and Pioneer Trails. Staff continues to put together a bid package for additional picnic shelters to be installed at Smith Creek, Recharge Lake, and Pioneer Trails. Staff is recommending installing the same type of shelters that were installed at Pioneer Trails and Recharge Lake Cedar Forest products. Potential district cost share reverse osmosis program. The committee fully reviewed the Upper Big Blue NRD pilot program for point of use reverse osmosis water filtration systems. The wells must be registered. Past discussion included making the program eligible to all residents with high nitrate ratings, not just the residents located in phase 3 areas. Discussed whether the program would provide funds for filters for residents that already have RO systems, to require RO system to be installed by a certified plumber, and requiring post-installation tests to make sure system is operating correctly. Staff will continue to add ideas to the pilot program. An end date should be set for this pilot program. If the pilot program takes off, district can adjust as needed. Additional information. Siren Lake Hastings Water Quality Management Plan Hazard Mitigation Plan Grant Agreements. Staff is working on the following grant agreements. Warning Sirens, $105,480. Lake Hastings Water Quality Management Plan, $40,000. Hazard Mitigation Plan Update, $75,000. Project Priority List. Staff presented future project suggestions for future planning. The committee adjourned at 7:53 p.m. And that is my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Richard. Roger, here is on that reverse osmosis, so comment.
No, that wasn't where I was going. First, I was at the committee meeting. I
Oh, I'm
wasn't showing
sorry.
that I was there. It says Bill on both committees. I was trying to figure out who was extra was on there, but I was at that meeting.
Oh,
I know I've
okay.
missed a few here lately, but I was at that one.
Okay.
And then I was gonna ask a question about reverse.
Yes, I did check with legal. They said as long as the guidelines were written in such a way that it was high nitrate users, that the municipality people would not qualify for the high nitrate users. So it would be limited to those with high nitrate use, with high nitrate in their water, meaning that the municipality people would not qualify for the use of our funds.
Well, the question I have like that is what we were just talking about with Hampton, where they can't find any low nitrate. They would be high nitrate users, right?
Can we put like a private well? Like you'd have to have a private well?
I understand where you're going, Matt. I just don't know. My question is if we're supplying it to rural, do we have to supply it to, whether it's private or not, do we have to supply it to small towns or municipalities if they have high nitrates?
Yeah, you have a comment?
I was just gonna give you, we got an update this week from the state on their RO system cost share. And it said that I think they had 92 applications and the total funding asked for was like 200 some thousand, and they have 1.2 million available. So they still have $1 million of funds available, and they extended the application timeframe. It's month to month. So there is more funding in their program. Now, I never heard the stories about how hard theirs is, but we may want to figure that out. I hate to offer, well, we're offering less money, but they have more money available, but
Roger, I did not pose the question that you just asked me. If a small municipality had nitrates in their groundwater, let me circle the wagon back with legal and ask that specific question. If a small community has high nitrate groundwater, would they qualify?
The other thing, I looked at a couple other of these programs since we've been discussing it, and a couple of the NRDs have them, but they require the people to apply to the state first for that funding you were talking about. And then if they don't get it there, then they're eligible for the funding for the NRD. So that's another possibility we could add into there or something.
Now, back to your comment on towns that have high nitrates and they can't get them down. I think a lot of those towns or villages are required now to furnish bottled water for the people that request it. I know McCool was that way. And I mean, they sent out letters and flyers to all the people there, but when they were having trouble staying under that, well, for a while they weren't. But so they were required if somebody requested that, you know, so I don't know if that would help cover some of that, but I don't know, but I think it's up to their responsibility to furnish drinking water for them or cooking.
I won't argue that, but if we're furnishing it in the
Yeah.
country, that may change the way that's looked at.
Right.
That's what
Okay, something to think about, so. Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
Oh,
one
yes.
other correction on item L. It actually states that Lower Big Blue NRD participated in the Hastings open house.
Oh,
I think it
no.
was the Little Blue.
Yeah.
Instead of the
Yeah.
Lower Big Blue.
thank you. Okay, with that, then we'll move on to the executive committee report. John. No.
The executive committee met on Thursday, April 13th at 7:55 PM in the York office. Committee members Yates, Keener, Dickinson, Staley, Bethune, Siebert, Richard Bohati, Potter, Sheldon, Miller were there. You can see the staff and other directors. The chairman noted that legal notice had been posted and the Open Meetings Act was available. Action item A, director's first quarter per diem, executive committee reviewed the director's per diem and expenses for the past quarter. The first quarter director's per diem is $7,840 and expenses were $3,917.60 for a total of $11,757.60. Individual expense vouchers were available for review. This total represents per diem and expenses for 17 board members representing attendance of 112 meetings. The motion is to approve payment of first quarter 2023 directors per diem of $7,840 and expenses of $3,917.60 for a total of $11,757.60, and to publish these approved expenditures in the March financial report, except that each director who has per diem and or reimbursement for expenses included in such financial report abstains from voting for the approval of his or her own per diem and or expense reimbursement. That motion carried 9 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Any questions on this or comments? Roll call.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Huttershell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Noose,
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff, Richard, you already voted.
I've already
Yates,
voted.
Yates.
Yes,
Motion carried.
yeah, yeah, you vote twice. I don't know if you get paid for sure twice, but you know, you can try.
Item B, payment to H&S Plumbing, Heating and Air. An invoice dated March 29th totaling $5,975 was received from H&S Plumbing, Heating and Air of Seward, Nebraska for installation of the Lennox single zone heat pump unit. This system is comprised of an outdoor-indoor wall mount unit utilized by the server room. The motion is to approve payment of $5,975 to H&S Plumbing, Heating and Air of Seward, Nebraska for installation of the Lennox single zone heat pump unit. That motion carried 9 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Any questions on this or comments? Roll call.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Hattershell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Noose,
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item C is a public relations update. 2023 Directors Tour. Management and staff has begun the planning process for the annual Directors Tour. This tour will focus on past, current, and potential projects in the southeast quadrant of the district. Staff is targeting the month of August. If a board member has suggestions of specific subject matter, please contact staff with your recommendations. Going on to the Burke Scholarship Selection. Scholarship Selection Committee met and reviewed scholarship applications. 10 qualified applications were received for the 2023 Burke Scholarship. An interim committee was appointed to review and rank all these applications. The interim committee is recommending that scholarships be awarded to 2 applicants and that 1 alternate be named. But there's 2 alternates down here. The 2 were Jack Allen of Aurora and Morgan Eichhoff of Aurora, with the first alternate of Elizabeth Marsh and the second alternate of Noah Fields, Elizabeth from York and Noah from Seward. There was a motion to suspend the current policy governing the selection and award process for the Burke Scholarship Program for the fiscal year 23, allowing for 1 additional $2,000 scholarship to be offered. Total number of scholarships to be offered for fiscal year 23 would be 3. That motion carried 9 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Any questions on this motion? Comments? What? You could call it that. A couple years ago, I think it was done. So. Yeah. Roll call.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Hattershell,
Yeah.
Miller,
Yes.
Noose,
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff, Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, the next motion is to award a $2,000 scholarships to Jack Allen of Aurora, Morgan Eichhoff of Aurora, Elizabeth Marsh of York, and to further name Noah Fields of Seward, the alternate. That motion carried 9 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Any questions on this? Roll call.
Ottershell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Noose,
Yes.
Hattie,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard, Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson.
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Consideration for grant for shared agronomist position. Discussion, the staff from 3 NRDs are currently discussing pursuing a grant through the Natural Resources Conservation Service to fund 2 shared agronomists. Area agronomists would work one-on-one with selected district landowners to have producers gain a better understanding of programs available to assist them when farming in the area of high nitrates in the groundwater. Management is asking for the board to provide consensus to continue to explore the partnership effort. The motion is to send the concept for a grant-funded position to the full board for consideration. That motion carried 9 yes, 0 no. And on behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Questions or comments?
No, it's through federal. No, it's through a federal source. It's through the NRCS. It's a 3-year grant. So yes, we would get word in October of this year on whether we were successful or not. The grant would run 3 years from that time.
Discussion beyond that.
It would be during the 3 years that discussion could occur. It's kind of like a trial run for an employee. You have 3 years. I think I told the committee Thursday, I started out on soft money, just like this. There are some benefits and some drawbacks for soft money. One of the drawbacks is the first year, you're trying to figure out what you're gonna do. The second year, you're doing what you're gonna do. And the third year, you're looking for new funding source. So that's just part of soft money grants.
Yes, Kendall.
I guess I just have a little recommendation related to this, just because I think this was discussed some in committee, just the significance of how having the right person is how it's all hinged on. And I don't know, it might be a position that might benefit having the board a little more involved, as far as maybe that's involved in picking the person, or a couple members that get along with Dave or someone else to meet with them, just to, you know, there's farmers on the board that kind of have an idea how they would want to be, have someone come onto their farm and interact with them. Just might be a helpful back and forth, since it's kind of a completely new position, but just a thought.
I would agree with that statement, except that the fact that I'm hired to do all the hiring and firing. I'd be more than happy to have a short list provided to me by board or by the community. But as far as the authority, it's in our policy that I have the hiring and firing authority. So in my mind, that includes the interview process, but that's a point of discussion.
Any other questions or comments on this? It's basically, but the motion is just to look into it farther, and I'm trying to get the grant, you know, nothing's. This doesn't mean it's actually gonna happen, but you have to start somewhere.
We're not the other NRD back.
Yeah, when this process started, there was going to be 4 NRDs that were going to participate. The Little Blue NRD, us, Central Platte, and Tri-Basin. The way that we the managers kind of pitched out the idea that Central Platte and Tri-Basin would share one staff member. And then Little Blue and we would share one. Prior to our committee meeting, Little Blues committee met and they declined the offer. So they withdrew their name. So I contacted Andy the next morning and Andy said that he's far enough down the road that he did not want to pull or alter the grant possibility, that he would still want to have two, and that in his eyes, we would have the solo position, the second position. Now, that's not saying that, you know, if somebody in Central Platte that came up to our border wanted to share, you know, some of this, that we wouldn't go across the border. I'm not saying that, but right now we would have the management and the ability to guide the person.
And this is all 100% federally funded. We won't even have to budget for it or any of that.
In the grant that we're currently writing, it'd be $300,000 for a 3-year commitment. So that means that most all of the benefits and salary would be covered by the grant. What is needed for grant is in-kind relationship to the grant. So we would have to budget some transportation, and we would have in-kind service of providing them a cubicle in this office, providing them support staff, meaning the receptionist would answer the phone when it rang. That would be considered our in-kind to the federal match. So I want to be clear that your statement, there wouldn't have any budgetary impact. There would be some budgetary impact on our budget for travel and other, but it'd be minimal.
Any other questions? Sean?
So the vehicle would probably be used by this individual 75, 80, 90% of the time?
What we have talked about with the grant is providing a reimbursement for mileage rather than a vehicle. That would, if we would use this philosophy, there would be no NRD vehicle provided. They would have to use their personal vehicle, and we would pay them mileage similar to what you guys get paid when you come to the district functions. There's a couple benefits for that. If the individual lived not necessarily in York, they would not have to drive every day to York to pick up the vehicle to drive home. In our policy, it says that there's very limited circumstances that a NRD vehicle can be taken home. So in order to do that routinely, I would not allow that. I do allow that if somebody's leaving real early one morning and needs to take a home on a very limited basis. But to have somebody take home a vehicle every night or once a week, you run into some IRS problems with having a benefit for the use of that vehicle. You still look like you got a question, so let me have it.
I do. I just don't know how to state it. It's kind of, where does the mileage start? Does it start from his home, his or her, which means they are providing a home office? Are we going to pay something for that home office? Otherwise, the mileage would have to start from here, no matter where it came from.
That is correct. You know, we were not anticipating paying for a home office. We're hopeful that this individual is going to work out of their truck probably 60%, 70% out of the time. So we weren't going to supply money for a home office. Again, it doesn't make sense to me to have somebody that lives in Aurora that needs to go on the east side of Aurora to necessarily come here and even start mileage from here when it's a 10-mile drive to go to their work rather than a 40-mile drive to come here and go back.
Is there a chance that in that $100,000, some of that might go toward mileage? Depending on what the salary benefits are. Right?
I think that that's a potential. I think that you'd need to take into account the experience that the individual would have
Yeah.
and the pay scale
Yeah.
that individual would have. In my mind, it would be totally different if you were hiring somebody green right out of graduate school versus somebody that has 25 years or 20 years, maybe not 25, 20 years of experience. So I think that the way the grant's written, we would be provided $100,000 to offset benefits and salary. And we could write into it-
Expenses.
And expenses if that's the case.
Well, it might be hard to get somebody for that, but Roger,
Well, I mentioned this in the committee, and I've thought about this thing a lot. It's gonna take about a perfect person to do this. Because there's not one farmer out there that doesn't think he's doing it the right way. I deal with a lot of guys every day, and I'm trying to change their mind on how they're doing something to something else. I've always done it this way, or this is the way it works best for me. And when you go out there and try to, and it takes somebody that's a real diplomat to be able to go to somebody and say, you really need to look at this. Cause every one of us thinks that farms thinks we're doing it the right way, or we wouldn't be doing it that way. Just like anybody else's job, everyone that here that doesn't have a job or that has a job, whether it's farming or not, you think you're doing it the best way you can. And when somebody comes in and tells you that you're not, they better have a damn good way to show you, or you got your hackles up and saying, wait a minute, what are you doing here, coming in here? And I'm not sure it'll help the PR of the NRD was to be, unless it's the perfect person. It really takes a salesperson to be able to do this. They got to be really good.
not everybody can work with everybody out there, that's just, that's a given, so, yeah. But it's the people, I think maybe we're after, is the people that are looking to a better or to change maybe, and those are the people that this agronomist might be more geared to, maybe. Yeah, it's the people that are asking for some help, that's what I'm saying. Maybe, that's, I guess that's what I'm looking at a little bit, so. Yes,
I guess my only worry, I talked to an agronomist and they were like, the people that ask for help are the same people every year. No, it's not somebody new, it's the same people. So that's my only
Yeah.
worry is if we find enough people to ask for.
John.
Do we know what the reasoning of the Little Blue was for rejecting it?
If you would ask me that before the meeting, I could have brought in the email. There was 4 reasons that the Little Blue opted to not go with it. One was they didn't want to be associated with federal funding sources. They were worried that that posed a bad light on NRD funding sources. The second one was that they thought that it was way overreaching for one person to do both NRDs. I cannot recall the third and the fourth reason. I can go get them if it's important.
Under there.
Give me, keep going.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Yeah, we do have a motion here, you know, that's what we're dealing with, so. Yeah, John.
The way the motion is written, I think it needs to be amended. If you wish to go on with this, because all this is a placeholder motion to get it to the full board.
Oh, okay. So, well, no, I probably shouldn't be interjecting here, but so it should be, you know, to accept the concept, but to go forward with it, maybe, and leave out that, you know, and I'm not trying to suggest or in any way, but how to change it. That's not my position right now, but.
And John, I do have the answer to the question that you had. One was excessive cost. 2 was too broad a working area. 3 was the red tape that federal programs are associated with. 4 was each entity should promote their own programs.
I guess, Dave, what's your thoughts? What would your opinion on it? What do you want?
I think if we don't step out of our comfort zone, we're not ever going to make improvements. I hear all the concerns that everything is generated by, but if we don't take a chance, if we don't look who's out there to hire, like I said, we won't even know whether this grant's successful until October. This is for us to start working on the budgets, continue to work with Andy to kind of enhance the idea. So if I had a vote to this, I would vote affirmative. But that's just my personal preference. I'm not saying anybody should vote that way. That's just me.
Go ahead.
I think it was brought, well, I think I brought it up even. If it doesn't work, you can always out the door. I mean, you're not totally committed. Discussion was we have to have a perfect type of person to do it. If one person comes in and they just don't have it, they're going to do us more harm. Let's put it that way.
So. Well, and I think this is what Doug's getting at. So we start this, and after a year or two, this isn't working out. Because it's a grant, but can we stop it, fire the, well, or get rid of the person, you know, but we can do that at any time, can we usually? Okay.
Yes, we can do that. That's one of the benefits with the other NRD pulling out is it's our sole call. If we were to partner with another NRD, it would have got a little bit more cumbersome. But we can return any federal funds at the end of the 3 years that we do not expend.
Okay.
So say in a year and a half, it's just not working out, the concept's not working out. We cut and go our separate ways.
Paul.
So I'll make an amendment to that to pursue the grant. And if we do get the grant, pursue somebody to follow it and run the program, I guess you'd say.
Okay, I know well, John didn't like in there was, well, to the full board, you know, with the wording in there. Send the concept for a grant funded position for consideration. Isn't that what you?
I would just. Grant for.
And John, you are correct. I was asked to put a placeholder position, a placeholder motion together. And I know it's vague. I wrote it.
John, in your motion, you'd like to take out to the full board, basically?
continue. Federal grant.
But I'm gonna go with yours, John, but since you made the original motion.
Suppose you want it on the mic now.
I'll second.
Okay,
Did you get it?
okay,
Okay,
Nancy.
we already, okay, first of all, we had the placeholder motion and you had John made the motion, Kendall seconded it. So you've already got a second for that. So this amendment that you're talking about, are you actually going to amend the motion or are you replacing this motion?
The motion or the amendment is to replace the motion with to continue to pursue a federal grant for an agronomist position.
Okay, got it.
John, can we strike the word agronomist and just say NRD position? Because during the committee, there was some concern about the title agronomist.
Okay, did you have the second?
No.
Oh,
No. So,
on the amendment,
okay,
yeah.
so on this amendment, it's now gonna be Miller that made the amendment, Bethune that seconded the amendment, okay? Okay.
Okay, any questions on the amendment? John, you made the motion. Could you amend your own motion? You can, can't you? Okay, well, I thought you could. I was just checking. Okay, any questions or comments on the amendment? Roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
News. Addie,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seibert,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Gross,
No.
Honorshell,
No.
Yates,
Yes.
That carried 11-3. So now we're,
And now we're back
I mean, you're really
to,
kind of, because you're replacing this, so I guess if you want to go ahead and vote on the original one that you replaced, I'm not sure what your procedure is.
yeah. So, would you want to read the motion as it's,
The motion is to replace the motion that was originally stated and with, and to word it, to continue to pursue the federal grant for, now it's not going to be agronomist position. It's going to be, we're going to call it NRD position.
mhm.
It really, I mean, completely strikes this other motion. So you're going to replace this, the motion that was first made to say to continue to pursue the federal grant for an NRD position.
Okay. Any questions on that? Roll call.
News,
No.
Addie,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seibert,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Boa, Anthony,
No.
Jeff,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Gross,
No.
Honorshell,
No.
Miller,
No.
Yates,
Yes.
That carried 9-5. As amended.
Back to me.
Yeah.
Non-action items, Nebraska Memorial Forest. A goal of Nebraska Memorial Forest is to have a tree planted for each Nebraskan fallen military and first responder hero. Trees would be planted statewide in almost every county and groves of 50 or more. Each tree would be named after one of the fallen heroes. York County has been asked to be host for one of these groves. Jim Meyer, Director, Honor and Remember Nebraska Chapter, spoke to the staff about how they might assist in York County. At least 80 trees, each tree representing a York County fallen military in the first responder hero will be planted. A total of 65 would be allowed for possible future deaths, having some unnamed trees planted. The approximate cost to the project is $27,000. Project costs, including the purchase of 86 to 7 foot, 7-gallon grow bag tree, transportation costs, augering the holes, maintenance, watering, protective sleeves, spraying if needed, mulching, signage, non-paved pathways, some form of identifying the name of the fallen with their tree, a few benches, updating the database and creating and maintaining names and write-ups with photo for each of the following. There are 2 locations on NRD property that were discussed for a grove of these trees, both associated with the Bruce L. Anderson Recreation Area. Planning will be targeted for the fall of 23. Committee instructed staff to ask the city of York if they would have a better site for the planning. Is there any discussion on that? I guess.
Mr. Chairman, I have reached out to the city of York. The mayor responded to my email. Susan Crawford has not responded to my email. The mayor is very interested in learning more about it. He would not commit any land at this time, though. He just wanted to learn more about it.
We had a report on the Washington DC and NARD conference. 3 staff members attended the conference. Nancy, Marie, and Dave represented the district. All 3 members wish to thank the district for the opportunity. Nancy has provided a written report from her experience. Her report and the NARD summary of the conference is attached. Discussion, the committee discussed focus on our current operating policy 19, which in portion states that the treasurer of the district is authorized to direct and hold funds of the district in the following manner: money market accounts at FDIC insured banks, as the board shall determine, located in the city of York for funds anticipated to be needed in the near future. In time certificates of deposit issued by FDIC insured banks, as the board shall determine, located within the city of York. That is per Nebraska statute. Staff have contacted each FDIC insured bank in the city of York. Currently, we invest in Cornerstone Bank and York State Bank. 2 additional banks, Midwest Bank and Henderson Bank, would like to have an opportunity to submit bid on time certificates of deposit. Staff will send out an email to each of these banks prior to the maturity date on future CDs, asking for bids on specific length and term and rates. Associated with each term, a resolution for investment would need to be enacted by the board and authorized signature and completed by the treasurer and staff before processing. Creation of a code of conduct. The committee discussed whether a code of conduct needs to be developed for the board. Prior to the director orientation, a copy of the code of conduct was requested by an incoming board member. Staff informed the director that other than the operating policy for the district, no guidance written in for conduct of board members. The question was posed, why no such document existed? Staff asked legal if they had ever composed a code of conduct for political subdivisions. Legal said that they have never written such a document. Legal said they were aware of documents written in the corporate world that would provide good starting point. Staff asked NARD and other general managers if a code of conduct was available for guidance for boards. Papio, Missouri NRD has provided a document which was created several years ago. This document was not written by our legal, but permission has been received by Papio, Missouri to use the document for review. Copy of the Papio, Missouri NRD document is attached to this report. Personnel report, discussion, forestry and maintenance. Jerry Gainstad of Fairmont and Jerry Peterson of Exeter have been hired for 2 seasonal maintenance positions. Written acceptance has been received. Both employees were repeat hires from last year. Duties will be assigned to ensure efficiency in the maintenance department. The new staff will start work April 15th and will work through the camping season. Search is ongoing to fill the vacated Polk County NRCS secretary position. This position is in Polk County USDA Service Center. Job search and posting will close April 28th. Interviews will be conducted first part of May. Jeff Ball has indicated his intention to retire on July 31st. Staff discussed sending of the email NARD legislative summaries. Discussion focused on what impact potential legislature may have on the NRDs. Investments were available, and the upcoming meeting dates you can see is there. May 9th is the Blue River Compact in Manhattan. If you have a chance, I've attended it several times, and I would welcome other people to come to see what's happening, especially how Kansas tries to do things. My report, if there's no questions.
Thank you, John. Okay. So we'll move on to financial statement and approval of bills to be paid.
In your package, you'll find a familiar financial statement and the approval of bills to be paid for the month of March. After you review it, staff will be happy to try and answer any questions you may have.
Well, Roger, I was gonna have you do the section for we each in the doors.
We having windshield problems?
We had a couple of vehicles that we had to have windshields replaced, but we did actually get that $1,000 back from the insurance company.
So when you get done looking over that, if someone would like to accept the financial statement and approve the bills in a motion, that would be fine.
Motion to approve the financial statement.
Is there any questions? Or any more questions? Comments on it? Roll call.
Ani,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Staley, yes. Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Jeff, Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Hattershell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Moose,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, the next thing, in our NRCS report. Todd? So what do you got for us? Yeah. But either grab the microphone, no matter, sit at the table and,
They'll have to push the button down until it turns green, but that one you can release. Let it go now. Did it turn green?
Yep, it's green. All right. So right now we're busy obligating our EQIP program, primarily a lot of irrigation projects, as you would all know. CSP program, we're ranking those at the moment. Of interest to you guys, we are also obligating our RCPP, our partnership with you guys and the Nature Conservancy on their programs. I guess this would be the third year of it. I'm not sure how much longer they'll have funds for that. I think they're looking to get rid of a little bit more money on that. NSWCP, those are also ongoing. A new one, we're just learning on some information on that. It's along lines of EQIP, but it's with additional funds through the IRA that was signed here a while back, with a focus on climate smart practices. This year, we don't anticipate much interest in that, just with how late it was implemented, but next year we may see more interest in it. I guess I don't know if you guys have any questions for me. That's all I got for you. The IRA application deadline is already passed. Yeah, it was March 31st was the last day to apply for that. We had one new one, and then we did have some EQIP applications that weren't funded through our NRD or statewide funds. And so they were eligible practices that we're able to roll over to this other IRA funds. All of our RCPP applications are for cover crops.
does anybody else have any questions for him? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the next thing, the NARD report. Paul?
Next NRD board meeting is June 12th in Kearney, along with the NRD Basin Tour. I'll be with the Central Platte NRD in Kearney. 12th and 13th June. Register for that. You need to RSVP by May 12th through the NARD. They are handling all the hotel reservations and the tour reservations. So let you know about that. I do have a short agenda. Somebody wanted to see that. And the only other thing I got is the state legislature finally passed a bill. So I got one through. So that's all I got unless somebody asks questions.
Have we got any questions for Paul? Okay, the chairman's report. John already mentioned, but the Blue River Compact deal down there, I've been to it several times too, but it's pretty interesting. So I know if anybody's interested in going, you need to get a hold of Dave to arrange transportation. So and the only other thing, I want to thank Teresa and Bill Staley, but for helping on the scholarship committee. And I said this before, but there was, well, all of them were good, and it's not as easy as what you think sometimes, but to, I don't know, but to pick a couple, well, in this case, 3, so, or 4, including the alternate, so thank you for doing that. You know, they came in and one morning spent, I don't know, an hour and a half, you know, going through them, and so thank you for that. Other than that, I really don't have anything. I know some places they've been getting some rain, but some places haven't. Roger.
A lot of them are 200 or 300% over. There was one 1,300. And then I think the Mississippi is 3 foot was one stage in. A lot of
Yeah. They've been getting a lot more moisture in some of those areas over there. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so where that heavy snowpack was, that all goes to the Colorado River, doesn't it?
Well, a good share of it is 200.
Okay.
A lot of it, like big sulfide,
Oh, okay.
really low, a lot of it going in there, a lot of it going in there. Some of those snowpack.
I
I
haven't,
just remember, I think 200-300.
yeah,
When I saw 1,300%. That's.
yeah. I haven't been over the Platte for a long time. I don't even know what it's like. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. John? Does anybody else have anything they want to mention? Do we have a motion to adjourn, I think? Okay, and the second. So all those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Well, that definitely passed. We are adjourned. Thank you.